Hello and welcome to another episode of Kill the Small Talk, and I'm your host, Alex Caron. On this podcast, I bring in guests from all walks of the entertainment industry, and we get down to the nuts and bolts. On this episode, I'm talking to my very great friend, Jorge Xolalpa. He's a film director and author of his new book, Ni de aquí, ni de allá. Here's the episode. Enjoy.
Because then my computer will start ringing. It does, yeah.
You'll get your hubby asking for you. Also, we just
he's literally next to me. He's literally next to me. Well, he's sleeping, but he's here. Yeah. Because he works late at night, so he's like.
What does he do for work?
Well, he's an actor, he's a dancer, and he serves. Okay. He's a server also, yeah. But he can tell you all about that when you bring him to the podcast. Oh yes,
that's right. Yeah. Okay. Good morning.
I sent you the email, so yeah.
You did. I read it seconds right before we started. Good to see you, man. It's
good to see you too. I feel like it's been if I'm calculating this right, it's been since 2022.
Gosh, has it been?
Yeah. That's kind of around the time where I kind of I didn't disconnect from everybody, but I started getting really busy, and and it was just one of those things where like I haven't really seen a lot of people, not even my friends that we hung out with that night. I still talk to them, I text them or whatever, or we see each other's pictures and we like each other's pictures, but I actually have a hangout with a lot of people
coming up soon
since then. Yeah. Life, it gets busy.
Well, so I found out about your work through someone had sent me a TikTok. It was your TikTok. And you were it was an open casting call, and you were looking for actors. Yes. And I think I reached out via TikTok, and then you like immediately got back to me. I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Okay.
I think you actually auditioned for it too. Sorry, it didn't.
But I did. That's the name of the game.
I got like 30,000 submissions. I mean,
that's
the TikTok
crazy.
just blew up. Yeah, the TikTok blew up, and I felt really bad because I generally like to get back to everyone.
30,000 people.
That was just because the thing is like I kept responding, and more would keep coming in and more coming in. Like right now, I posted a TikTok and I want to respond to everybody, but I'm getting like 27 comments a second. Like it's insane. It's insane. So
yeah. It just goes to show you how many people in LA are trying to work as actors.
Yeah, it's tough out there right now. I mean, it's hard with everything that's going on. Actually, I think we're living through the aftermath of the strikes.
The aftermath of strikes, the aftermath of COVID. The aftermath of what we're seeing right now with companies merging and trying to become monopolies and AI, and there's just so much going on in that world right now that a lot of us actors are like, will we work? Will we be able to?
I have a controversial opinion about that.
Tell me. Say it here.
I don't think it's gonna affect. I think the only thing that is gonna affect actors and the bottom branch of the actors who are up and coming or constantly working to try to get to a position where they can continue booking stuff. I think that's only the only demographic that is going to affect. But it's only going to be from the strikes. I don't think that the merger is going to affect us in any way. I don't think that these companies. It's because it's really not for us. It's for them.
Right. I was just going to say that.
If anything, I'm not like very experienced to talk about like giving my opinion on what I think in terms of like what this merger will do, or AI will do, and all this and all that. But I will say that while everybody's fighting, thinking that it's going to affect them, I'm going to be making a movie, and it's great for independent filmmakers. No, it really is. It's great for independent filmmakers. I think that indie filmmakers should take this chance, and if a bone is thrown at us, we should take it. Because I don't like AI, but it's where it's going. So maybe use it for things that don't require replacing actors or replacing writers or directors.
Right.
Maybe for other things like creating like a background or something for something, or maybe fixing something in post that needs to be fixed,
Yes.
And there you go.
Yes, exactly.
Satisfy people that want AI.
I was having a a conversation with my director friend, and I was concerned. We were having lunch, and he gave me his 2 cents, and he basically was saying what you're saying is that he was like, look, like it's something that's just it's gonna be here, so might as well take advantage of it. But he's like, in my view, he's like, I won't use AI to replace actors, to replace the performers, to replace the writer, to replace the director, the
Mhm.
cinematographer. You still need humans for those jobs.
Yeah,
He was like, the only thing I could see it useful for is like to fix small things in post. Because there was a scene
yeah,
he was working on, and he's shooting a movie that takes place in like the early 1900s, and like there were some things around the house that was very modern still, and they used AI to
yeah.
like take it out, and like that was it.
Well, isn't that what they have been doing though for the past, like through CGI?
I think so,
Yeah.
but
No, and I I lost my train of thought. I lost what I was gonna say. Maybe it's for a good reason. I
really
don't
good
know.
reason. Well, let's talk about you because that's why we're here. So
Thank you.
you grew up to my understanding, you were born in Mexico and then you were brought
And
here as a very young child to the United States, right?
I was smuggled through the
You're a
river. No,
smart.
I'm just kidding. No, because that's what people think when I like talk about my book. Like you were brought here through the board. I'm like, no, I came here with a visa. Like, but yes, I was brought here. I'm gonna stop. Jokes aside, I came here when I was 9 in 1988, September 17, 1988. My mom brought me to the United States under the pretense that we were going to Disneyland. But she was escaping an abusive marriage. Not so funny now, huh? No, I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding. I know you were laughing. That's what I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding. I'm
No.
kidding.
It's a delayed
No,
laugh.
um, and yeah, no, it's a chapter in the book. It's a chapter in the book. I laugh because I think it's so ironic that I still haven't been to Disneyland. So
To this day.
yeah, 27 years I've been here and I still haven't been to Disneyland. Yeah, my mom
Uh,
lied to me.
so and then you guys, where did you guys land? What city did you?
Here. We landed on a farm. No, I'm just kidding. We landed at, what do you mean in LAX?
Well, like what part of no, what part of
No,
LA
we
did you
we
did
came
you
to
guys stay
LAX.
in?
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, we came to LA.
Yeah, Terminal
Let
2.
me say something. It's so funny because like I know you're not doing it on purpose, but some people do be doing that. Be like, well, where did you land? Like, where did you cross? I'm like, I crossed the river and I landed at a farm. But no, we landed at LAX. We had the privilege of coming here to the US with a visa. And that was like one of the things that I talk about in the book, how she says that um, and I'm sure she doesn't mean it that way anymore, or maybe she does, I don't know. But she's like, the only good thing that I got out of this marriage was that your dad was able to get us visas. And I'm like, so, I also grew up, I didn't really emphasize so much the visa part in the book, but I did grow up seeing my mom take care of this document like it was gold. Even after
Yeah.
it expired, it was like this, this ticket, for freedom. So we landed in LAX, and yeah, it's 27 years later. I'm here.
And you guys, what city did you with Torrance
Torrance.
South? Oh, Torrance. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was I
yeah.
was born
I
in
grew up my
Inglewood.
whole life here. Yeah, no, I grew up my whole life here. We arrived, excuse me, with my mom's family to a mobile home with 15 other people,
Wow.
and it was just one of those things where my mom, my sisters, and myself, we slept on the floor, like in the living room, like maybe my mom on the couch, and then like me and my siblings in the floor, and yeah, and I won't get much into it because I we'll talk about the book, and there's a whole chapter in the book, but it really talks about all how it wasn't easy, and it wasn't, despite me coming here with a visa. And I mentioned that because there's this idea that if you come here with a visa, you're suffering, or your struggles are not as equal as anyone who crossed here um,
Right.
undocumented, right? And it was hard. It was difficult coming to a country that you don't know the language, the culture. It was a shock.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. No, I totally understand. Yeah, my mom's side of the family, uh, were, immigrants who migrated from Mexico, and my uncle came here when he was just 16 years old and with maybe like 20 bucks in his pocket, and learned English quickly,
Yeah,
went to high school, and so And then, yeah, my mom's thing, she was like, I mean, she jokes, but I think it was partly true. She's like, I'm like, Why did you want to come to the United States?" She's like, "I wanted to find me a gringo who played rock and roll music, and that's how I met your dad."
Well, maybe that's really what she wanted to be here, you know?
I think
I
so.
mean, you never know. The American dream.
She wanted to come to Gringolandia to meet a rock and roll
Yeah.
star, and she met my dad.
What year did your mom come to the US?
Oh, this would have been 1990.
Oh, okay. So in the 90s. Okay.
Yeah, 1990, and then she met my dad 92. They were dating for a couple years, and then they married and had me in 94.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then also I grew the first couple years of my life, I grew up in the South Bay. I grew up in Inglewood Hawthorne. My grandma
Excuse me.
had a hair salon, and we were, I was going to school in between like Inglewood and Hawthorne, and
What school
then
did you go to?
I don't remember what the name of the it was like
Hmm.
it was a preschool,
Oh, okay.
like an
Yeah.
aftercare kind of a thing. But then my grandfather on my dad's side had a house in Downey, so we
Yeah.
moved out there.
There's so much peace out here. I mean, I remember when I lived out here before I met my husband and I moved to Hollywood. I was like, I want to move to Hollywood because that's where everything is, right? Living out there was like the most overwhelming, energetically speaking, experience. Um, and I love it out here, and I think he loves it too now. Because at first he was like, but I think he loves it now. I think I've convinced him that we can stay at like somewhere like a Redondo Beach or something out here because it's so nice out here.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it's also like a 40-minute drive just because of traffic, but it's close by,
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's not that bad. Yeah, it's not that
yeah.
bad. What part of Hollywood did you live in? Because I lived in Hollywood too.
East Hollywood.
East, I did
Yeah,
too. In Thai
yeah,
Town.
like just East Hollywood. Yeah, it was before K Town, like closer to Launch Fund.
Oh, okay, sure, sure, sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
I lived in the Thai
but
Town
the energy
section.
out there is
Yeah.
just all like I don't know. I just feel like it's so people are constantly like sad and depressed, and you know, because everybody's just like struggling to make it. Um, yeah.
Yeah, 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 totally. I know. I lived in East Hollywood, and then because I was going to theater of arts, I was going to an acting conservatory. I was studying
Uh-huh.
acting for film and television, and then I found an apartment in Eagle Rock, and that was nice because it was like calm, it was cool, it was like suburban-y, lots of families,
Yeah.
a lot of artists lived there, so it was cool being around them. And then it just got, kind of pricey. And then I found a place with my actor roommates, and now I'm here in Burbank.
Yeah. How do you like Burbank? Because I don't like it.
You didn't like
It's,
Burbank?
it's no, I've never lived in Burbank, but I think it's one of those things where like it's also very um it's very secluded too. But I don't know. It could just be me. I don't know.
I
I like the peace.
Well, that's how I feel over here. It's very it's close enough to Hollywood to my work, but it's far enough to where it's very calm. Again, it's like suburban life out here. I live near a high school, so there's a lot of families walking. There's a beautiful park
Mm,
that's like 5 minutes away. Downtown Burbank and the AMC movie theaters are like a 5 minute drive. So
yeah.
it's cool. I like being around here, and then plus I'm trying to get back into taking improv and sketch courses at like UCB and Groundlings, and that's also like 15-20 minutes away from here. So
Wait, because you just mentioned Downey. Is that the reason why you've been doing comedy shows in Downey too? Because you had invited me a couple times. Yeah.
yes, yeah, 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 yeah. I was doing so this was after I graduated that theater arts school, and then COVID
Okay.
happened, and then my dad was like, "Hey, you should start your own comedy show," and he was like, "You could use our backyard. There's plenty of space." And I was like,
Yeah.
"All right," and I rented a riser with like a curtain and like frames, and I had my own microphone and my own speakers already, and I booked some of my comedian friends, and then I was doing the show in Downey for like 2 years, 2.5 years, and
Mm,
and then it evolved into sketch comedy and improv with some stand
that's
up,
awesome.
but
Yeah, that's terrifying.
that's why you prefer being
Yeah.
behind the camera.
No, I don't mind being in front of the camera, but just like stand up comedy is it's very difficult. I think once you understand it, because I do understand it, but I still don't have the guts to ever do it. But there's a lot of stand-up comedians who think that they need to make a joke about their circumstances, and what they don't understand is that no, you are the joke of your circumstances. Like you
Mm,
have to like make sure that you know use your tragedies as a way to uh deliver sarcasm,
mm-hmm.
which some people call punchlines, right?
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, maybe one day.
If you've thought about it before, you've thought about.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. It terrifies me. So I've always told myself, first a TED talk and then maybe stand up. Yeah,
Oh, that'd be awesome.
yeah. And it looks like it might happen very soon too. So we'll see. Who knows? I mean, I wrote it. I wrote this thing on my book that I didn't even realize it until my husband. I mean, of course I realized it, but I didn't like really realize it fully until he said it. He's like, you wrote a sentence that says everything I touch turns into gold, and meaning that everything that I've gone after I've been able to flourish. Make it flourish. Um, some things happen like singing. I'm not gonna go out there and try to be a singer. No, but when it comes to like the arts in general, like I think it has to do with discipline. I know that training always go, you need training for certain things, but
Hmm.
discipline really takes you the long way.
I agree. Yeah, discipline, passion, and then consistency. As
Yeah,
long as keep going. That's the number one thing I've heard from people I look up to is keep
yeah.
going. Don't stop. Don't
Don't
ever
stop.
stop. I'm like, all right. Well, actually, that brings me up because I wanted to ask you, like, did you grow up with like an artistic family? Like, did you like?
Mm-mm.
No, not at all. So
No, I mean my
where did that?
sister.
Mhm.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, where did that interest come from into getting into the
So
arts?
my sister used to draw a lot, and I know she wanted to be a storyboard artist, but she never really pursued it. Um, I don't know. I think that I look back into my life, and when I was in college, um, between I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew that I want. Okay, so let me rephrase that. Very little, I wanted to be like a commercial airline pilot, but
Oh.
I couldn't pursue it because I moved out here to the United States, and in order to pursue it, you have to be a citizen. And I had the whole thing about being undocumented, so I that was one of those things where I was like, okay, I can't do this. I can't get sad about it. I need to find something else. So then I went to college, and in college, I remember walking in. I'm sure they don't have this now because everything's digital. But back in the day, they had like this like uh bookshelf or whatever with a bunch of like holes on it, and every hole had like papers for each major from like anthropology to like aerospace engineer. I'm like, oh my god! I was like, I remember telling my counselor, I was like, you mean I can pick one of those and just like study it? And they're like, yeah. So, and this was in community college, by the way. So the first year, I got so excited. I tried I was like, maybe I'll do business. And then I'm like, no, I
Hmm.
got bored. Maybe I'll do culinary arts. No, I got bored. Maybe I'll do nursing. Definitely not because I can't do science. Maybe I'll do aerospace engineer. I was like, I need to be a citizen for that. So never mind. So I tried all these things. And by year number 2 in community college, I don't know if you know this, I'm sure you do, but community college is for you to only do 2 years and then transfer out to a 4-year
Yep.
university. So by the second year, I had done all these things. Um, and I was like, okay, I'm not about to become that person that's in community college for 4 years. So now I need to just speed it up. What can I do? What can I major in to transfer out quick in this within this year? And it was political science. And I was like, great. I was like, I can be political. I was like, sure. So I majored in political science and I transferred out to Cal State, to the Mingus Hills, where I
Hmm.
graduated with a bachelor's in political science, and then I got into law school, and I did law school. It's so funny because you sent me this file earlier to talk about what I wanted to talk about. I was like, I don't want to talk about law school, and
You
here I
don't.
am talking about.
You still don't have to.
No, it's fine. No, but because there's a reason why I'm mentioning it now because you asked me what drew me to the arts, and here's what happened. I became so obsessed with wanting to be perfect that I ended up hating what I had studied. But
Mm.
I mean, at this point is what 4, 5, 6, 7 years, 8 years of college, and it's like, like I'm already done with it. So I remember thinking, well, maybe I can love it if I become famous and I can use my fame to run for office one day, right? And I remember telling my mom, I was like, I'm gonna become an actor so I can become famous and I can run for office one day, and I won't have to like raise a lot of money because I'll already be famous. And she was like, sure. And I was like, no, but watch me.
That's
I was
how
like,
it
I'm
works.
gonna be famous, mom. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And for like the first couple weeks, I was just running around with my phone, like pretending that I knew what I was doing. And in the process of doing that, that I had to Google like what is a film director, what is an actor, what's a producer. I was like, and then once I figured out what these jobs were, the next question was, what am I? Am I a director? Am I a producer? Am I a cinematographer? Am I a gaffer? What am I? Right. So going through all of these positions to shoot my first feature film with my iPhone made me realize that I had the arts in me all the time, because the fact that I said that I wanted to be an actor, it took me back to when I didn't know what major to pick, because I just wanted to I'm like, I want to do all of them, but
Right.
not for real. Like, it was more like, let me do them in front of a camera. Like, let me play a doctor in front of a camera, you know? So that's where I think where it came from. Also, I've always had like an immense amount of love for film, but I didn't realize that until I started taking it seriously. I was like, oh, I actually have a DVD collection. I'm always watching movies, and I'm intrigued by movies that have won Oscars. Not that they're any better, but it was always that thing. Like, I would always watch the Oscars. I still do, the Golden Globes, the Grammys, all kinds of awards shows, you know, and it would really excite me. And I would always be like, oh, I know who's like, this is me before going into film. I'm like, I know who are the top contenders here, the predictions. And my siblings would always look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh, it's actors, right?
Yeah.
So, I think that me not knowing what I wanted to be very early on and wanting to be all these careers was a sign that I was destined to be an artist, just because that's kind of what I do. I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I just did an interview on another podcast, and we talked about how I I'm an entrepreneur. I mean, I'm a
Hmm.
business. You know, I think my business mind and the lack of knowing how the industry worked really helped me.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it drove that curiosity in you to learn more and deep dive into it and find out more about it and you know what you're getting yourself into. Because I think a
Yeah,
lot of people like they just they say they see show business, but they see the show part and they forget about the business, which is something like I was like struggling with, and now I'm like, talking to people more, and I'm getting like counseling and learning more about the business aspect of show business, because at the end of the day, it's still a business.
yeah. I think the number one thing that a lot of people don't understand is what their business is, you know? And as you know, I teach acting classes and filmmaking classes and screenwriting classes. And the very first thing I tell my students is, um, I say this from the very beginning, you know, come ready to give, whatever that means to you. Come ready to give. But most importantly, get rid of all that. Oh, I don't want to do publicity. I don't want to do social. Like, no, like, what's your business? It's
Hmm.
you. Like, you are the business. How are
Yep.
you supposed to sell your business if you're not putting yourself out there? Like, how are you supposed to promote your business if you're not, you know? And I sometimes I feel like I should have studied communications, because I'm so good at it. Like, I'm so good at in terms of PR. Like, I'm really good at it. I know how to, like, I mean, you've seen my PR work. Like, you've seen I'm really
I
good at
know. You're
so yeah. So you know, I I from the very beginning I knew that the business wasn't my films. The business was me. Like, I'm the business. I'm the one that all these things come out of me, and I need to make sure that I market myself properly, so that people are able to be like, oh, you know what? I like this person. Let me see what he's talking about. And if I look at my comments sometimes, and people will be like, I don't know you, but I love your energy and I love who you are, what you're projecting. That I'm gonna go buy your book, and I'm like, great. Thank you, because that's really who I am. I'm not putting up a front. I'm not lying about who I am. This is like literally who I am, and you know, and sometimes it like yesterday I did some content for my book, and like I have like a pimple here, whatever, I don't care. And my husband was like, "Damn, that's bold." I'm like, "Listen, this is who I am on a daily basis. You know, I'm not gonna use a filter and be like, oh, I look pretty. No, like, F it. Like, let people be like, listen, I have a book, and yeah, I have a pimple. I'm a person too. I'm a regular human being, you know? But that's
yeah.
why I'm wearing a hat today, because it's actually three of them, and they're all like conquering my my headspace. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean,
Well,
right? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
totally.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
like, jokes
yeah.
aside, like, you should know how to market yourself.
I found out that I actually like, as much as I love acting, I found out that after making my first short film that I really loved producing. I didn't know I had this. I mean, I sort of knew because I was producing my own comedy shows prior to producing my first short film. Uh, and people would tell me like because I work for a music company, and one of my buddies, he was like, you know what, Alex? He's like, I've been to your comedy shows, dude, and he's like, you could sell the fuck out of a show, dude. I was like, really? He goes, yeah, man. Like, and I looked back, I was like, wait, you're right. The last three shows I had in Downey, I oversold tickets. We only had room for
Mm,
50 people. 75 people showed up. And because they liked Downey didn't have at the time didn't have a comedy community,
yeah.
nevertheless a comedy show, and people love that. I brought a bit of the Hollywood stand up comedy lifestyle to Downey, and people really, and even the comedians too would tell me like, hey Alex, like we really love. They're like, we love doing your shows more than like the Laugh Factory or the Comedy Store. There's something real and something so genuine about the community that you're from, that people are here to genuinely laugh. They want
Yeah.
to laugh. So I found out that I had that skill of being able to produce. So now I'm like, okay, well I'm gonna hone this skill I have and learn more about it, and you know and it's something my uh a lot of my acting professors told me at the conservatory I went to. They were like, don't just be an actor. Learn how to write, learn how to produce, learn how to direct. Just do
Yeah.
it. You're in a
Yeah.
time
You have
where
to.
you could shoot everything on here if you want. You
Yeah.
don't need an expensive, red camera, or, you could do it yourself, DIY. And
Yeah.
that's what I love about independent filmmaking. That's what I love about artists like you, artists like my friend Alejandro Montoya Marin, who I'm sure
Yeah.
or Jorge Gill, who's an upcoming director. Like, I love that. I love seeing, I love working with passionate people such as yourselves,
Yeah.
because it makes me want to, it makes me have that drive more, and it makes me want to work even harder. And I
Yeah.
love people who love what they do and
But
who
also you get
have that
inspired,
focus.
which I think
Yeah,
it's important.
yep, yeah. Well, because and I think it's it comes from the top. The director is the one in charge, is the one in the lead, and if director's not inspired, you think your crew's going to be,
Yeah.
you think your crew's going to be inspired too, or your actors, or no? It's got to start from the top.
That was the other thing too, like like knowing how to collaborate to be able to become inspired, because there's this culture in LA where it's like, I want to be booked, I want to be booked, okay, I'm booked, it's about me, okay, I'm done, bye, and it's like, no, like, learn how to collaborate, learn how to make, not necessarily, not friends. Well, that's the other thing too. They make friends, but they don't make no, they make friends, but they don't make relationships, and I remember, like, my first team, I owe them a lot. Like, my first management team, I owe them a lot because I learned a lot from them. And I remember, like, the week they signed me, they booked a meeting at Sony, and for me to go, and I was so excited. And I remember, when we got there, my manager said to me, you know, this, nothing's gonna come out of this, because I prepared, like, pitches, and they're like, get rid of the pitches. You're not gonna pitch anything. You're gonna just, it's a general. You're gonna meet them. They're gonna meet you. They've seen your work. They like your work enough to meet you. But this isn't about what you're gonna get out of them today. It's about building a relationship, because you're not gonna get anything today. He said, but who knows? Maybe in 5, 10 years you will. And I was like, 5, 10 years? I'm like, that's insane. But it's true. Like, it's been 10 years now, and it's like, I still, like, build those relationships. Like, I can email this executive, which, by the way, left Sony and started his own production company, has a bunch
Wow.
of TV series, and he's produced, like, at least, like, 10 series on Netflix and a couple films,
Oh
and
my
it's like, they
gosh.
know, they follow me on social media, and it's like, I have their phone numbers, like, we built this relationship, and I don't have, like, you know some people might think, well, why don't you hit him up? Like, because it takes, the right project will come to fruition,
Hmm.
um but yeah, it's just, it really it comes down to building relationships, because I feel like
Yeah.
there's people don't understand that.
Absolutely. I was actually just listening to the Smartless podcast yesterday, and they were interviewing Jeremy Allen White, and he was talking about when
Mm,
he was working on Shameless. One of the producers, like towards the end of the end of filming, when they wrapped like the final season, he was like, "Hey, like hey Jeremy, like I'm working on this show. I'm working on this idea that I'm like producing. He was like, I'll call you in 3 years. Okay, see ya. And he was like,
Yeah.
what the hell? And literally 3 years later, he called him to be in the bear.
Yeah. People remember you. And people might not remember your name or your face, but they'll remember how you make them feel.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, that guy that, yeah, he was super cool. He was friendly. He was like not a dick. He was really easy to work with. What was that guy? We should get a hold of him. I mean, I just think like
Oh, I thought you
I
were
try to,
asking me. That was, I was like, I was like,
oh
which guy?
no.
I was like, which guy?
Me, I'm talking about me.
Yes.
No, I just mean like, I feel like just as a human being, just in general, regardless of like, building relationships, I think it's just be kind
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
Don't expect things from people. Just be cool, just be kind. And if something
It's
happens, cool. If not, cool. Don't
it's a hard idea for some people to be kind.
yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's very difficult.
No, and that's why I'm glad I've kept this relationship with you. Because when I met you
Yeah.
that night when we went to West Hollywood, I was like, this guy's super
Yeah.
cool. He's fun. He's funny. He's easy to talk to. Uh,
But
and I remembered that.
because the person that sent you the TikTok, it's someone mutual, someone that we know.
I think no. This was a former. Unfortunately, we don't talk anymore. But
Oh,
I think she had like followed you on TikTok or so, or you may have just like come up on her feed. And then she was like,
okay.
"Hey, like, there's this director that has like an open casting call. You should, hit him up." I'm
Yeah.
like, "All right." And then we hung out in
Got
West
it.
Hollywood and got drunk.
Yeah. But it was around the time I was doing Union Station because it was with everybody. I just so when we were texting about that earlier, you're on a TikTok that I did with all of them,
Oh,
which I have
really?
to share. Yeah, we
No
were all
way.
drunk. We were all drunk doing the Beyonce challenge. The well, I forgot what it's the dance. And I remember posting it and be like, who of my friends are straight and who are gay? And everybody was like, they're all gay. I'm like, actually no. I was like, one of them's not gay, which was you. And I was like, actually no. I was like, no. I was like, as a matter of fact, none of them are gay. I was like, it's just me. But it was funny because everybody was offbeat. Everybody was so, including myself. And
Oh my
I
gosh.
yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, you have to find that. Send it to me. Holy shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I will.
you made a joke. You called my Doc Martin something. I forgot. I think you called him Dr. Peppers.
No,
I remember now.
I
You
I
called him
probably
Dr.
did.
Peppers.
I
I was
probably
like,
did. And
Dr. Peppers.
when you reminded me of that today, I was like, oh God, I was like, I hope I didn't say something inappropriate because
No, not at all.
I wouldn't, but yeah, it was and if I'm remembering correctly, the reason why we all got drunk is because we went to the bar where I met my husband and he was giving us shots.
Wait,
He was just giving.
you didn't meet him that night, did you?
No, no, no. I hadn't met him before,
Oh, okay, okay.
but I would go to the and we weren't even dating around that time. We were just getting to know each other. We were friends, and and every time I would go, he would give me and my friends shots, not just one or two. Like he would give us a lot of shots. So that day you came with us, and he just gave shots to everybody. He was like
Yep.
shots, shots. So so yeah, it's a very it's a long time ago, but it's a very vivid night. I remember like pieces and then went to get like we got pizza before and I think we got pizza after and it was fun. It was a fun night. Yeah.
That was such a fun night, man. See, that's
Yeah.
what I mean. Like that's about building those relationships just with like, I don't know, don't do it to get something out of people. I mean that's my thing. It's like I'm gonna be cool with people
Yeah.
no matter what. Because that's just in my nature. I'm
Yeah.
ever since I was little. I mean, I remember my parents telling me I would go up to strangers at like grocery stores and be like, "Hi, my name is Alex, and I'm a pirate." And they'd be like, "Oh, okay." And like they would tell my parents like, "This kid's gonna be like an actor or like a politician or something. Something like he's gonna be a public figure." And I don't remember, people having those conversations with my parents, but I it seems like I'm on that path.
Yeah. No, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. As long as you know like exactly where you're going, that's important. I like to tell my students, build relationships, know how to market yourself, but also know what you're doing. Like know exactly where you want to go because that's important.
Yeah. Yeah. and that's the thing. Like I've always known where I wanted to go. It was always just okay, but how do I get there?
Yeah,
And now that I've been like absolutely putting my focus into it and like being consistent and submitting myself for acting jobs and just kind of doing anything I can to want to support myself, but want to also fuel that the artist in me, uh,
yeah,
and then you making friends along the way.
yeah.
So like I know I'm on the right path.
That's yeah. You are. We're definitely in the right path.
I wanted to ask you a
Hmm.
few questions about uh well, so like Lolita's your latest project, and that
Hmm.
I still haven't seen it, but I know you said it's going to be on Apple. Wait, can I say that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah. I'm like, no, yeah, you
It's
can.
gonna be
Yeah,
on Apple TV Plus, which me and my roommates have, so I'm looking forward to
yeah.
watching it. But like, I've always been so fascinated with independent filmmakers and people who just go for it. So like, what was? Tell me about like your process for like the idea that came about for Lolita. How did that come into fruition?
So Lolita is a film about this man who gets out of jail after being incarcerated for 9 years, and he all he wants to do is redeem himself and start over, and that includes getting his daughter back, right? So he comes out. The deal is that he has to be in probation. He has to visit his PO, and also has to go to therapy, and also register for employment at the county's office. And he does all those things, but as he continues to move forward, the system is kind of turned on him, because as much as he wants to redeem himself, the system keeps making it hard for him, and it's almost like they're setting him up for failure. To the point where he feels like he's stuck in a limbo, and I won't spoil the ending, but he's given a second chance. He pretty much falls down a rabbit hole again, and he's given a second chance, which never happens. If you're a person of color, or just a minority, and you slip and you fall back into old habits. The idea of help is not very familiar. It's more like, let's put you back in jail, and
Yep.
it is what it is, right? So I wrote this film in 2018 when DACA was kind of in a limbo. Are you
I,
familiar with DACA?
I'm familiar, and I'm familiar with what happened because I had friends that were also worried about what was going to happen around that time.
Yeah. So I wrote this film around the time when DACA was kind of in a limbo. We didn't know if it was going to be taken away or if it was going to continue. It was this whole battle with the Supreme Court, uh, but also inspired by the entirety of DACA, which is pretty much being in a limbo. DACA grants you. It's not an immigration status; it's a deferred action, meaning that for 2 years, um, although I'm not legally here, immigration has to immediately defer my deportation, meaning that if I get stopped by ICE or anybody, as long as I show them my card, my work permit, and my DACA approval, which is a letter, then it should be fine. They should, I'm good to go. I just have to keep renewing it every 2 years. That being said, DACA does not allow me to travel out of the states. So I have to, if I want to travel outside of the United States, I have to apply for something that's called advanced parole, and that's not guaranteed because advanced parole is only granted to people that are going to out of the country for academic purposes, for
Hmm.
health reasons, or for work.
Work,
Health
yeah.
reasons meaning maybe a death in the family, or you're going for surgery or something, and for work if you are hired to do your job somewhere else, but you still, it has to be, there's a limit to it. So for
Hmm.
instance, if I get hired to go do, let's say, a movie in Mexico, and I'm shooting from January 15th to January 30th, I have to request a permit that allows me to leave on January 14th and come back February 1st. Like, it has to
Oh
be those
wow,
specific dates, right?
yeah, yeah.
But it's very hard. It's not only it's hard to get it approved, but it's also very expensive. Each time you have to apply for it, it's almost $1,000.
Just
Um,
to apply?
and yeah, just to apply, and if you get denied, you
Wow.
don't get the money back. I mean, if you get denied, you don't get a refund. But so I wrote that film when at a point where like my film had gone into the Marché du Film in Cannes, and I couldn't go. It's just I couldn't go. It wasn't approved, and it was kind of like it was just frustrated. So then I wrote this film inspired by me being on a limbo, how me having this document still doesn't grant me any kind of status, and it pretty much puts me in a limbo because I'm neither from here nor there, which is where my book comes from.
Neither aquí,
Um,
neither, yeah.
yeah, yeah, So that's where it was inspired. So a lot of people think that it got inspired by incarcerations and and everything that goes on, with people of color being incarcerated, but really it was inspired. The metaphor of it is being a DACA recipient, and how despite me having this document that allows me to work, I'm like free, but I'm held, like free held. So that's where it came from. And yeah, it took me, I mean, 2008, and then we shot in 2024. Sorry, 2018,
18,
18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 6 years. Yeah.
6 years
Which
later.
is insane because you always hear these like big celebrities talk about like, oh, it took me 10 years. It took me, and it's like, damn, that's a long time. But that's really how long it takes to make films. And you have to remember, I'm making one film a year. So that's like, yeah,
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 it's a
absolutely.
stretch.
I remember that was like one of the other big lessons I took from like this school was they were like, Alex, filmmaking is waiting.
Yeah.
They're
Well, it's
like,
patience. It's
yeah,
patience.
it's
It's
patience.
creating, like right now, I, I'm, I'm in talks. Well, not in talks, but like, I don't even know if I should say this. Like, I'm trying to put together another series, and I think we're gonna move forward with it. So we'll talk more about that when it happens. But uh, I've kind of been waiting uh since Strange Love to kind of hear back to see if we're gonna do this or not. So we'll see. It's
Do
just
you
it's a waiting game.
do you feel like your all of your projects since your first one, Blue Line Station, and up until now, do you think they all share similar themes, or are they completely
Yeah.
different? And
Well, they share social justice. Their their projects about underrepresented folks,
hmm
projects about women, about queer people. So yeah, in a way they do all share at some point. So actually not at some point. My first three films are in the same universe. And you'll understand that once you watch them, once they all come, because they're all coming to Apple TV, not just Lolita. Like I licensed my entire catalog, and you'll watch Sensation, and then you'll watch Valentina, and then Sweet Caroline, and they all have, it's like a triangle. I wanted to continue it, but I couldn't, so I ended it with Sweet Caroline, and they're
hmm
all in the same universe. All those three are in the same universe.
Ah, that's awesome. I love,
Yeah.
yeah, I love stuff like that. How do you? Okay, here's some like specific, directed questions. How do you approach collaborations with other departments like the cinematographer, sound, editing?
I mean, by listening, I think it's important to learn how to listen. Collaboration has to do a lot with listening, not reacting. People listen to react. I listen to just learn and understand. The director delegates. I mean, the director is the commander in chief. That's like just what it is. So,
hmm
if you make it difficult for your team, then you're making it. If you make it difficult for yourself, you make it difficult for your team. So my way of collaborating is just by listening. This is what I want. What are you going to bring back to me, right? And it's like you tell me exactly how we're going to make things happen, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, we move on and we pivot to a different perspective that's going to work. That's the thing about me as a director. Like, I'm not married to everything that's on my script as long as the story doesn't change. I've always
Right,
said this, if there's a scene where she's wearing a purple dress but we only have a green one, then guess what, we're going to change it to a green dress, and it's like I'm not all about this metaphors in green and the purple. Like, no, 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 no. Like, I don't know why I wrote it that way at that moment, but I have no problem changing it now.
right.
Because it's like I've worked with directors. Actually, I haven't worked with directors. I've been on sets with directors where they'll be like, well, let's kill the scene if we don't have this, and I'm like, you're really about to sacrifice a really important plot of your film just because you don't have a certain thing. And that's how filmmakers fail, you know because they let their ego get in the way.
And they don't adapt.
They don't. Yeah, yeah, i'm I'm proud to say, to like name myself the poster child for independent film, because I know how to adapt. Like, I teach my filmmaking class, and the way I teach it is, I need you to make a list of your resources. What do you have access to? Do you have a table? Do you have a chair?
hmm
Do you have a car? Do you have a house? What do you have access to? Bring it to me next week. Once you bring it to me next week, then I say start writing the script around those
Oh,
resources. Okay, but what if my character
mhm.
wants to travel to the moon? Do you have a rocket to go to the moon? Do you have a special pass to go to the moon that I don't have? Because if you do, take me with you, because I also want to have access to that. You don't, right? So then don't write the freaking moon on your script.
Yeah,
Change it. Are you
right.
talking about a
Yeah,
bar? Like, or is it like is it a street called Moon? Like, what are we like? No. So it's and I've had a couple people drop out, which is number one, is ridiculous because you paid for the class, and number two, that just shows how weak you are. The whole point is for you to challenge yourself and say, if I only have a chair and a table and a couch and flowers and a mom and a brother or whatever, and those are the only people that I could put in my film, then I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna figure out a way to do this film, right? Because when you are able to create something with nothing, when things come to you, you're able to take over the world. Easy peasy, simple.
that is so freaking true. And that was gonna, that leads me to my next question about, in terms of collaboration, like when you're on set
Mm-hmm.
as a director or on location, um, are you? I mean, I think I know the answer because it sounds like this is kind of what you're already talking about. Are you open and do you listen to like suggestions like from an actor? Like, let's say you're working on a
Yeah.
scene and the actor's like, "Hey, Jorge, like, would you be open to like if we tried it this way?" And then you're like, "Oh my God, I didn't even think about that. Fuck yeah, let's do it." And then
Yeah.
it turns out to be what you weren't expecting, and turns out to makes the project even better. Or does that sound
Yeah.
like you?
No, absolutely. It's that's what I say. Come ready to give, And
Yeah.
I'll tell you this, because I've experienced it even more nowadays. When you start working with actors that have been doing this for a very long time, they no longer come and ask you; they show you.
Mm.
And if you don't like that take, they're completely fine doing another one. I've
Mhm.
experienced this with Mexican named actors, but for the sake of people not knowing them, because people don't watch anything other than what's in America, let's talk about Eric Roberts. Eric Roberts was a huge example for me. He's an Oscar-nominated actor,
Yeah.
and people make fun. Someone left a comment on my one of my TikToks yesterday. He's like, "Oh yeah, but doesn't he do everything he's pitched?" And I'm like, "Well, why don't you pitch something to him? See if he'll do it."
Right.
Right? But what I learned with Eric, what I learned with Eric Roberts is that he comes ready to give. Meaning he's done his homework, he's done his preparation. He'll do take one and he'll do something, and then take two and he'll change it, and take three he'll change it, and then maybe by take four I'm like, you know what? Let's try something different. He's like, ah, okay, let's do it. But an actor that's prepared, that did its homework, then knows their lines, they come ready to give. And it's not necessarily you giving advice or you giving an opinion. It's just be
Mhm.
ready to give. You know,
Mhm.
an actor's like the actor is the equivalent of a hanger for a fashion model. You
Mm.
have to show up and just give. That's it. That's your job. Fashion models love being human hangers because that's what they want to be when that's something they envision. Actors
Right.
are literally just a vessel to feelings and emotions and intentions. The second rule that I teach my students is know your lines. A lot of actors a lot of actors don't book
Oof.
anything because they're reading out of a paper, or they memorize their lines and they're still reading them instead of performing them. I was like, you know what happens? Why you get nervous? Why you choke up? Why you get stuck in certain words? It's because your brain is trying to pull the lines. They're trying to remember. Once you know your lines, you're able to forget about not having to remember them because you know them, and all you have to concentrate now is an intention and
Mhm.
finding out
It's
where
the
that character is
performance.
taking you.
Yeah.
Because even after you do your homework, even after you do all this Meixner and Stella Adler and whatever the F you want to call it, like you don't go on set and be like, you, me. No, like all that goes away. Like you just get in front of the camera and you just start performing, you start living.
Yeah.
But
An actor who doesn't know their lines is like a doctor who doesn't wash their hands as soon as they walk into the, waiting room. You know what
yeah.
I mean? It's like that was like 101 at my school. I mean, it was
Mhm.
like I went into this school already, having done a shitload of theater. Like I have a lot of theater experience. And that was the biggest thing in this class in the classrooms was these
Yeah.
actors did not know their lines. I'm like, guys, like that's basics. Like this is why we're not moving anywhere. Is you guys don't know your
Yeah.
freaking lines. Know your lines. Know them.
Yeah.
And then that's how you're able to give those And then that's how you're able to focus on performance and intention and
Yeah.
motives and help drive the story. That's
Hmm.
it. That's our
That's
job.
it.
That's our
It's
job.
and it's not that hard, you know.
No.
I was thinking yesterday how like I'll speak for myself, you know, how sometimes we um we work so hard to save money to buy that Birkin or to buy that jacket or whatever it is that's trending, that new iPhone, but we don't put the same energy into bettering our craft, and not necessarily meaning paying for classes, but practicing. It's free to write a book, right? All you really
Hmm.
have to do
Hmm.
is sit down and write it. It's free to write a screenplay. It's just sitting down and doing it. The hardest part about finishing a project is not so much finishing it, but starting it,
Hmm.
because we're so afraid about what if it doesn't work out. Well, guess what? It's not working out now because it doesn't exist, right?
Right.
So, I yeah, I always tell myself that just how I put so much intention and so much discipline into I don't know, watching all these Academy Award movies, or I don't know, buying whatever it is that I'm trying to buy. I'm putting the same intention and discipline into continuing to create my art. My book just came out on December 12th, and I'm already in chapter 4 of my new book that I need to turn in March because it's going to get published next year in December. Exclusive, haha. But it's like I'm working on that, and it's like, and on top of that,
Yeah.
I'm going on tour for this book, and I'm also teaching, and I'm also shooting a movie probably in March or February, or March or April, I'm not sure. And we're talking about shooting a series 2 and fall next year. So it's like, you always have to, if you really want to work in this industry, you have to continue. You have to keep yourself not busy but disciplined. Because when things start to fall, like when the yeses start falling into place, you're gonna have to deliver. Everybody's scared of the no. I'm scared of
Mm-hmm.
the yes, because once you say yes to me, like, I have to deliver that. Which is what
Right.
I've been wanting to deliver, which is what I've been yearning for so many years. But look, I'm entering my 10th year, and it's true what they say. It takes 10 years to break into the industry. Like, a lot of yeses are coming my way, to the point where, like, I'm getting booked to like 2027, 2028. Like, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because that's ultimately what you want. People that complain about being busy don't deserve to have what's coming to them. Easy and
Mm-hmm.
simple. Because this is literally all I've ever wanted. To be able to work in the industry that I adore.
Well, dude, speaking of which, like these last 2 months, I've been so, I don't want to say lucky, but because I've put in the work and the discipline into achieving what I've now done. But I've been able to live off of acting for the last 2 months, and that to me
That's
is
awesome.
and that to me is evidence that I
Yeah.
could do it, and that to me is proof to myself that as long as I keep the hustle, staying humble,
Yeah.
staying friendly with people, and then I'm on the right path. And I actually I was working so hard that I ended up getting really sick this last week. I wasn't able to spend Christmas
Oh
Eve with my
no.
with my mom's side of the family because I don't know if you know, I got hired as the Grinch for a Christmas caroling company. They would hire
Oh wow. I don't
they
know.
they would hire so they hired singers and they hired actors to
Uh
play Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus, and the Grinch. And I already had my Grinch prosthetic, like makeup and costume and contacts and everything. And
uh
and I showed up to the audition, which was here in North Hollywood, and they booked me like a week after that. And then on top of that, I also got hired at this Christmas pop-up bar in my hometown in Downey called Santa's Hideout. And
okay.
for the last month, I've been working there as the Grinch Friday nights and Saturday nights. And I was working so hard and I was putting all my effort into it that the final week I ended up getting really sick because I was in this hot costume going inside, going from the inside to outside. And I got so sick, and that was my body telling me, dude, you've worked so hard these last 2 months. You need a rest. You need a break. Give your mind a rest. Put the Grinch to rest. He'll happen again
Yeah.
in a year. But
Yeah.
I just paid my rent with the money I've been making,
That's amazing.
which
Yeah.
was
No,
my
that's
dream.
amazing. Congrats. Yeah. Yeah. It's you want to be able to work out of this, and it's difficult, but we live in a time where we can get creative. We can do anything nowadays, you know? And I don't want to sound like someone that's like, because I feel like sometimes when someone says that, they have a privilege and they're not understanding that it's difficult for others. I do acknowledge that it's difficult for others because it's been difficult for me as well. Um, but we can do a lot of things with technology nowadays.
And you're living proof that, and you're living proof to thousands and thousands of people who want to work as a director, who want to work as a producer, as a writer, that it could happen. It just
Yeah.
takes time, consistency, love, passion, hard work, and just, being a kind person.
Yeah, no, and I'm not even where I want to be yet, but I'm definitely where I wanted to be 5 years ago,
Yeah,
you know?
me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's growth.
Um, so we have a few more minutes. So
Yes.
we normally do this segment in the middle of the podcast called This or That.
Hmm.
I'm gonna ask you
Okay.
a fast round of questions. But if it
Okay.
reminds you of a quick story, feel free to like interrupt and talk about it real
No, don't
quick.
say that because I always go off tangent and my husband tells me, you didn't answer the question you were asked, right? I'm like, yeah, I know.
Okay, well that's why this is really simple. It's literally okay. Here we go. Do you prefer summers or winters?
Winter.
Do you prefer watching movies on Netflix or do you prefer YouTube?
I've never watched movies on YouTube.
They're free. There's
Oh,
so
you
many
mean just
free
YouTube in
movies, or
general?
just YouTube in general.
YouTube 100%, yeah.
YouTube. Do you prefer texting people or calling people?
FaceTime.
Yeah, me too. I love FaceTime. Uh, Books or movies?
Books.
Do you
But it'll
prefer?
change.
We'll
Because
see.
I make movies. So movies, already that's part of me. So books, it's like people need to read more.
And books is your latest venture.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you prefer comedies or dramas?
Dramas.
Do
Well,
you
no, hold
prefer?
on. Hold on. What's the question? Do I prefer to make them or to watch them?
Oh, that's a good. Okay, both. Do you prefer watching dramas or comedies?
Watching wait, I guess it doesn't matter because I like making dramas and I like watching dramas too. Yeah.
So both.
Both, yeah.
Uh, do you prefer working alone or working in a team?
Working with a team.
Working with a team, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you let's see. Do you prefer watching films or or would you rather sit back and watch a really good TV series?
Films. TV
Films.
series get me bore me. Yeah. They never end.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Fiction or nonfiction?
Both.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
Mhm.
I can't choose. I prefer both. Do you prefer watching movies at home or going to the theaters?
I've been going to the theater more often and I appreciate that. But definitely at home is also it's fine. Unless it's like something like Interstellar, then I definitely have to go watch it in the theaters.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love. I lately I've been watching movies in theaters, even if it's like not a movie that you're like, oh, that's a movie that should be seen in theaters. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah.
right now they need our help. Um,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how much help we can give them, but yeah.
Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Uh, I guess Harry Potter. Yeah, I never really got into Lord of the Rings. I don't know why it took me that long to say it, but because of J.K. Rowling right now, I was gonna say it like Twilight instead.
Yeah, yeah, fair point. Friends or Seinfeld?
Neither, because I've never seen them.
You never seen either of them. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Uh,
Yeah. Veep. I'll say this. Veep.
oh, Veep is so good, dude. I loved Veep. Julia Dreyfus. Oh, she's so fantastic. And
Yeah.
then Tony Hale as her assistant is
Yeah.
hilarious.
She's like, you fuck muffin. I'm like, who comes up with these lines?
Fuck Muffin. That
Yeah.
some of those lines have to be improvised, especially in a comedy drama series like that.
100%, which is even worse because it tells you exactly what their mind, like what's going on in their mind. But it's good. It's good television.
Okay, so we are at the final minute of the show.
Okay.
Jorge, thanks a lot for coming on here. I wanted to use this moment for you to plug in any upcoming maybe shows you have, any if you're going to be in person anywhere with your book tour, or where people could buy
Yeah.
your book and watch your films.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be going on a tour, 25 cities starting January 9th. Well, it started December 13th, but it continues January 9th. All you can find the locations on my social media, and then my film is still on theater, like select theaters right now. It's coming back to other festivals this next year. So Lolita, be on the lookout for it. And yeah, buy Ni de Aquí Ni de Allá. It's also Spending Between Two Worlds, my book, in all stores. I think it's sold out in stores now, so just get it online. They're going to bring more copies, but in the meantime, you can buy it online anywhere. Barnes& Noble, Amazon, Target, Walmart, anywhere where you can buy a book.
Amazing, dude. Thanks so much for coming on here. And
Thank you. Thank you.
it was good good talking to you. And I hope
Likewise.
this has inspired future filmmakers and actors alike.
I hope so too. Yeah, I hope they just
And take your classes.
get inspired.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
take my classes.
Actors, take his classes if you can.
Well, I'm not teaching. My last class starts January 19th, and I'm not going to teach until like the end of the year because I'm traveling
Because
everywhere.
you're gonna be
not
traveling.
because I will eventually continue teaching at towards the end of the year, but my last class starts January 19th. It's 4 weeks, 2 hours each day, and it's only $100.
Oh, well, shit. Maybe
Yeah,
I could take this one.
I throw out this special because I want more people to, it's only $100. It's only 4 classes, 2 hours each class. It'll be fun.
And this
Advanced acting.
This is advanced acting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, shit. Maybe I'll take it.
You should. You're gonna have a lot of fun. You're gonna meet a lot of people, and I also add all my students to a group chat where if there's any like event or any gig, I post it there. Like I know a couple students booked a feature through here. A couple students went to a couple premieres, the Wicked premiere and stuff, because I got invited. I don't really go to these things, so I send it out. So not only do you get to be part of the class, but you get to be part of the network where you can
there's
get either a gig or an event. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, yeah, thanks for being here again, and I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe so you'll get notifications when new episodes drop. Thanks to my guest, Jorge Xolalpa. Music by Mark Fabian, produced and engineered by Robert Altschiller, recorded at Command Recording Studios. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Kill the Small Talk Podcast and at CMD Creative _studios. We'll see you next time. Bye.